You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for A-List New York. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest A-List news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for A-List New York!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the AfterBuzz TV, the A-List New York, episode 7, entitled Hamptons Hellraising. I'm your host, Kenny Harrison, and I'm glad to be back. I missed you guys the last couple of weeks. Well, last week we were on hiatus because there wasn't a new episode. The week before that, I had surgery. I don't want to get into details. We'll talk about that later.
Special
topics. But yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Super
and
special.
I am joined by my co-host, the lovely
Jacque Borowski.
Next to Jackie is
Marston.
And next to me is someone new.
Yes, David Schifilliti.
Hello, David.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And the voice of God.
DJ Jesse Janedy.
There you go.
Would not call him God.
Oh, why not?
Call him the
well,
devil.
David won't be joining us.
You love me.
He is the voice of God. We love Jesse. So welcome, David. And I want to thank Courtney Stewa for sitting in for me 2 weeks ago. That was very big of her, literally. Hi, Courtney.
Ouch.
Right?
I love you.
Was
We
it
missed
really
you.
2 weeks? I thought it was last week.
No, it was 2 weeks.
2
We had
weeks ago.
last week was Memorial Day. We were celebrating our
Memory.
memory. Well, I never know.
Wasn't it Labor Day?
It was Labor
It
Day.
was Labor
It was my
Day.
birthday.
Yep, we were
And it was my
celebrating
birthday
working.
too.
Oh,
So happy belated birthday to Jackie and Jesse. Anybody else have a birthday? Anything important to discuss?
actually, as a matter of fact, the creators here at AfterBuzz, Miss Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, have been working very hard on a movie called Serial Buddies.
Yes.
This has been 3 years in the making. And finally, next week, they will be premiering it in Boston.
Awesome.
September 20th, that's next Tuesday. So any A-list fans or Maria fans, anyone listening to this damn podcast, if you're in the area, check out bostonfilmfest.org and get your tickets and showtimes. They'll be up there. And do it fast because it is selling out. Also, I want to say congratulations to Courtney, as she is one of the AfterBuzzers of the month this year. This month.
This year.
She is Miss AfterBuzz 2011. Speaking of which, Miss Universe. This is off the subject. She was from Angola. Angola?
I don't know.
She's sickening. I love her. Anyway, yeah, so Serial Buddies in Boston. I saw one of the earlier cuts, and I thought it was pretty damn good. It's pretty funny. So check it out. If you're in the Boston area or you just want to fly to Boston.
Tri-state
Do it.
area.
And
Do
there's tons of celebrities in it, and
Yes.
some of them will be showing up. I'm not sure if Christopher Lloyd's going. I know Kathy Lee Gifford is, Henry Winkler. So check it out.
Awesome. And her book is still on the list. Every Girl's Guide to Life. Check that out. And we here at AfterBuzz are doing a special Emmy broadcast this week. Thursday and Friday, Jesse?
Thursday and Friday,
Yeah.
September 15th, 16th, from 12 to 6.
Check us out.
Pacific.
I know I'll be hosting or co-hosting the Dexter. I think David is doing.
Vampire Diaries with Jesse.
There you go. So we're doing a lot of things here at AfterBuzz TV, and that's all we have for you. Thank you for joining. Now, so
Have a good night.
here we go. A-List New York, episode 7. I apparently this episode wasn't anything for me, but other
he was
people.
overruled.
I was overruled. Other people thought it was probably one of the better episodes this season so far. So we're going to try to do something a little different instead of going and boring you, the viewers, with going over everything you saw last night. We're just going to go around the room and point out a couple of highlights. And then for our special topics, we're going to get into dealing with the gay obsession with youth and beauty and botox and surgery. And I'm speaking from experience because I undergone one surgery just past 2 weeks ago. So if you want to hit us up.
Which had nothing.
And now Kenny's a woman.
According to some, I want to set the record straight, so we'll get to that when it happens. But feel free to call us 424-256-1729. So
false advertisement.
I was supposed to unveil my new face, but all you got was a beard. That's all I got for you. So let's start with David, since you're our little special guest co-host tonight. What was one highlight for you in this episode?
The highlight for me was Reichen deciding to make a fragrance. Because why not, right? And him wanting to include sweaty armpit.
Yes.
Well,
I literally almost threw up in my chair.
It was entitled Anal Crevasse.
Disgusting.
Yeah, well, my thing is, I think there's a
That'll
people.
hit you in a minute.
Well, yeah, because it didn't hit me yet. But I mean, what do you think? What do you feel about that? I mean, does that it's funny.
It's a fetish.
What's a fetish? Sweaty?
Sweaty armpit?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the fragrance. Like,
That could
Well,
be a
that
fetish
could be a fetish too.
but who does that? I mean, like,
And then names it after himself. So it's
Well,
implying
well, I
that
mean,
he
of
has
course.
sweaty armpits. Or...
But then he has to clarify that he is not the actual bottle of perfume, which was one of my favorite parts.
I'm not a bottle. I'm not like the genie.
is it just me or
He's so full of
he's the
himself.
least relevant of this season? Like, I thought he was kind of interesting last season. This season is like, okay, well, he's become another Mike Ruiz.
Is that your
After his
declaration?
Uniball,
or are
yeah.
you gonna flip on that?
No, I'm serious. I mean, I still find him attractive. I mean, out of anybody on the show,
I
he would.
just threw up in my mouth.
Well, he would be.
That
He's definitely my cup of tea. So I mean,
He's so
You
gross.
drink all flavors.
it's gross.
Yes. He's just a gross person.
Wow.
Speak on
You
it.
don't
Don't just
think?
make
I
it
know.
What?
I mean, I understand.
Because
I
we
totally
rip on
agree with
Jackie
you.
and Courtney all the time about Austin, and the reason why is because he's fat. I mean, what is?
Austin is not fat.
He is. We'll get to that
Austin's
later.
fat.
Thank you.
Austin is straight skinny, but he's gay fat.
Wow.
Right?
That's
You
true.
don't think?
This is
It's
true.
true. Courtney and I are straight women who think Austin is totally hot.
Courtney is. You're a straight woman. I'm not sure about Courtney. The
The jury's out on that.
Speaking of
Exactly.
gay-
Oh,
Speaking of gay,
sorry about
David,
that.
can you lift your seat up? Your light is being blocked.
What does that have to do with anything? This light is too bright. It makes me nervous.
There you go.
I like
Okay,
it because
a
people
little
can
too
see
high.
me now.
A
Better?
little too- no, I'm just kidding.
I hate you. I'm gonna come back
Want
there and
some powder?
smack you.
Back to
I
why
might need
Reichen is
some.
gross.
Yeah. Why is Reichen gross?
And not because of that Botox scene.
One, he's too full of himself.
Your hands smell good.
Jeez.
She's wearing Reichen.
I stuffed my hands under my armpits.
Armpits. and her fragrance is called Jacque.
Reichen for women.
Oh, Jackie.
Reichen for women.
That's awesome.
Well, back to Reichen being disgusting. I think he's too full of himself. And that is a very unattractive trait in a person, being... I don't know how to explain myself, but that's one of the main reasons why I find him disgusting.
They
on
all
top
are
of
pretty
the
full of
fact-
themselves, though.
Well, yeah, but to a certain extent.
The only person that I actually would defend, I know that was kind of loud. Austin isn't too full of himself. I think he's just too young and dumb to even like.
Well, even Mike
and-
points out that he's young. Youth is his problem.
Which, since you brought it up, that's kind of my highlight for this episode. Is the fact that every time that someone's in a crisis or needs advice, Mike is always the one that they go to. And it's like anytime he talks, whether it's Ryan, Derek, any one of them, you can actually see the light bulb go off, especially in this episode with Austin about the whole Playgirl thing. Because I had no idea that he did Playboy when he was, 50 years younger.
1991.
Well, in dog years.
He looked fine.
Well, but am I correct? And this is probably the first time I've ever seen the two of them ever exchange like even a simple hello.
Yeah.
So
Well, in the beginning of the season, Austin talked shit about him, about putting yourself on a shirt and doing all of
You're
It's
mumbling
the first
again,
time they
Cam.
had like a
No,
real
Austin
conversation.
should talk to him about the whole shirt thing.
What shirt thing?
Mike had his whole
T-shirt
shirt line.
I missed that.
This is the first time they've had a real conversation.
That's what I'm saying. I've never seen them together, like, and it's good to see an older gay man kind of like mentoring someone who's younger and
Well,
just.
you can't really say mentoring. They go to him. Mentoring was if he was more involved, like he actually went to the group. They go to him, and they go to him because he's not involved. He's kind of separate from the entire issue.
and he's
so
wise and not catty.
He's a little bit more objective.
But-
he has a life.
But it's kind of like the light bulb in the whole situation is for me is when Austin was like, "Oh, I had no idea Mike did Playgirl. Why didn't I go to him like beforehand? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would have gotten a lot of insight, and I feel like we've all kind of agreed that the whole Playgirl issue was contrived between him and the Mr. Creepy. But
that backfired on him.
yeah, and the thing is, it's like when he finally goes to Mike, he could have alleviated all of this drama between him and Jake with the whole Playgirl thing and the fluffing and that being all made up and blah blah blah. So what is so significant for me is that, you know, it's good to see someone who's older. And granted, at the end when they go to the party, like Mike was one of the ones that kind of walked away from him when he like showed up or whatever. But it was just kind of nice to see that kind of like, I'll take you under my wings kind of thing to show Austin, you know, this is what you may want to consider. The decision is still yours. Even with the whole Ryan and his, you know, him wanting to tone down the femininity for the producers, it's still your decision, but this is what I have done. This is what I've been through. And this is what possibly what I would do in this situation kind of thing. So, okay, moving on.
Papa Mike.
Let's throw it over. Let's throw it over to DJ Jesse. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What was the highlight for you in this episode?
We didn't even get to reply. Huh?
I know.
What do you mean? Reply to what?
It's going around in a
I
circle.
don't necessarily think Reichen is disgusting.
Oh, we're going back to
but
that?
I don't find
Okay.
it attractive. And I don't think he's really. What was your word? He's self.
I think he's just clueless. Like that's my whole thing.
I think he lacks self-confidence.
You know,
per se.
But
he lives off of his body and his looks, and that's all he has.
yeah.
And his money.
And wants love or some sort of like.
Validation.
He needs a teddy bear or a
Yeah,
dog.
he needs like a handshake every time he does
I
something.
needs more
I
than
thought
a
you were gonna say a
handshake.
hand job. Every now and then.
He needs that too.
I heard hand and that my
Hand
mind went
up.
there.
The hand up.
Yeah, if he had a hand up every day from a different guy every day, I think he would be very happy with life. He's just
I
like
think he's happy with life. I don't.
I don't. I
really?
definitely no.
No.
I mean, look at the scene when he was in Hawaii.
Mike Manning.
He went to like there
He's
were two
in
different
Hawaii
guys.
and he's all grumpy.
And grumpy, and then
Yeah.
he like bounced to some guy, and he was like, "I don't know, I really like him." Well, what about the guy that you really liked in New
Well,
York?
I think you have, as an adult, you have to learn how to be good with yourself. If you can't be alone, who the hell wants to be with you? Either. I don't know. If you can't bring love to the table, don't expect anybody else to love you.
But I think. But am I the only one that thinks that he has
Zeker.
good intentions though? Like, especially in Hawaii. You know.
Reichen?
Yeah.
He has like
No.
wah
No, because
intentions.
in Hawaii, he was talking to that kid from the real world, right? And then 5 seconds later, he was like, "Oh, I like this guy better."
Well.
Making out with him on the beach. And he was
Well,
like,
my thing. Well, okay. So the
making
kid
out
from
with
from the real world kind of dissed him, so he moved on to the next.
no, the kid from the
Exactly.
real world gave him the real business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was no dissing involved. I think, in fairness to Mike Manning, the one you thought dissed him, he was keeping it real and saying, you know, you're kind of crossing a boundary. I thought we were friends.
Right.
But there was never any.
There's no
relationship
friendships
before.
in the gay world.
Okay, Kenny.
There's
either
no
fuck-
bisexuality and no
either-
friendships in the gay world.
You either fuck or get off the pot, right?
Whoa.
No, there are friendships in the gay world.
Turn his
Yeah.
mic off, please.
We have to teach Kenny these things.
There are. I have many a
Fuck buddies. I mean, friendships.
gay friend
Really?
that I don't have sex with and have never had sex with or kissed or been romantically involved with or would want to.
I
that
am
matter.
joking, by the way.
I know.
Kenny is
Okay, we can move on. Sorry. Oh, no, sorry, Jackie. Were you done with Reichen?
Yes, I'm
Everybody
done.
else
I'm
is.
done
Are
with
you done with
Reichen.
Reichen?
I'm done with him.
So we're off Reichen, except for me. Go ahead, Jesse. You're next. Hot
Oh,
seat. What's your
I
favorite?
liked-
Your highlight?
I kind of, before the show started, I was talking to Jackie. She said Rodney's one of her favorite growing characters in this. I love Rodney. I think he kind of hit the nail on it tonight. People think he's stupid because of the way he talks, but he really is, to me, the most genuine out of everybody. David, please speak on that.
I was gonna say, he's shaking his head, and I'm in agreement with him.
Is he done? Are you
done?
Jess, you done?
No, because one thing I liked in this, and I think even Nyasha saw it, and not only that, but the fact that Nyasha, if that was what's his name?
That was anybody else. Nyasha would have gone stark.
Mr. Piggy Austin.
She wants to bone him. That's why.
Right. But she was like, you know what? It was my fault. I totally forgive you. I was drunk. No, we're being stupid. Let's just. The whole forgiveness thing that made me die because it was like, but you were that desperate for a gay man.
I know.
Yeah.
And we're all agreeing that he's gay. I mean,
yeah.
Bisexual, you want to throw that in there. I think he's gay.
But Rodney is my new, super crush because Austin keeps crying in every episode, and I'm getting a little
annoyed.
I love him, but I'm getting a little tired of his crying. And I'm like, I really like Rodney the way he is. And I know we all make fun of the way he talks because it's ridiculous with the subtitles. But I really love the way he stood up to Nyasha and then wouldn't back down instead of and not in a mean way, just in a trying to be reasonable sort of way.
No, we agreed on that.
Yeah.
He walked her right into that verbal trap. She trapped herself by saying that she wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, good. So you know that you were being rude.
Yeah, so you're just acknowledging that you're being rude, basically. Yeah. And I love that he, basically, called her out on it and she had to back down for once.
And he's never disrespectful. He always uses his words.
Right.
The few words that he knows.
The few words that
to
he
the
knows
best
he
of his
uses
ability.
them.
Because he looks like a mum.
Oh, what?
A mum.
Like a flower?
Well, he was trying to say mummy, but all I got was mum. Remember when he was getting his hair done?
Yeah, but that's okay. Because he looks cute in his underwear.
That's true.
I can still visualize him pounding some punani though. I'm sorry.
I can't.
I could too.
I really can't.
I'm sure he does. Whether or not he enjoys it is something else.
And I honestly, and this is my personal, I just think he's a bottom, and I think that he.
So you thought Reichen was the top?
Well, actually, I thought a lot of things about that relationship, but I don't think it's appropriate to discuss yet.
To me, I think Rodney's the most masculine out of all of them because even the way he handled Nyasha. I mean, I have
to agree.
When Rodney gets in his little flipsy ways, it can be like, oh, you are a girl. But Mike is I could just picture Mike in a tutu, half naked, prancing around his apartment. Half naked. The thing with Rodney, well, actually, no. You know what really Mike reminds me of? You ever watch Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know the really big muscle chisel guy?
Oh, no.
But anyways, back to Rodney. Just the way Rodney handles himself. And I've met, you meet a lot of foreigners, and I've been very keen to think that a lot of them are gay. Mm-hmm. But it's just... Outside of America, we have this stereotypical thought of what a man is. Mm-hmm. And
we have not stereotype for America. It's we Americans, make an assumption based on our gay community and our straight community, what that means in other countries. And it's not the same.
But and also with the whole sexuality, especially in Europe. They show tits on newscasts and it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? There's nude beaches everywhere, in France and all these other countries where sexuality here is more repressed. Yeah. So we don't think, and he could be having sex with girls, whatever. But our perception of him as Americans, I think he's gay. He looks great with a shirt off, but I just,
going back to him being the masculine, the way he handles himself in situations with Nyasha, he's not disrespectful. He stands his ground where any of these other guys would have kind of flipped the story to oh yeah, girl, I was doing this and
Derek.
Well, Derek,
and Austin.
Derek is the queen of
flipping
the Nile.
Yeah. Well, no, because I would say Queen of the Nile is TJ's friend. Which TJ wasn't even in this episode, interesting.
It was, for a hot second.
The Botox party.
Yeah, at the Botox party.
My favorite line was, you remember that guy that hit you in the face and you liked it?
And you liked it, yeah. That's the thing, though, that we were saying way earlier, that he always has the best one-liners are associated with TJ.
Yeah. Well, actually, Ryan said that to TJ.
I know, but they're associated with
yeah.
TJ.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
But yeah, that was my favorite part.
that's wonderful.
Jackie?
Jackie, you're next.
My favorite thing was going to be Rodney, but I guess it's not. Well, actually, I can make a branch off of that. I liked how this episode had a lot more like lightness and humor, and there was a lot more like witty banter going back and forth, and a lot less like. Well, there was crying, but it wasn't like.
What kind of banter? Like what specifically?
I
Like,
liked the golf scene,
that was cute.
where like. Where they're making sexual innuendo jokes and things like that. They're having more fun with each other rather than just everybody being angry at each other all the time.
But did you notice what group that was though? It was the same group.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. But I also like to move on to that. Like Rodney, another reason why he's really growing on me is because he cracks me up a lot of the time, and I'm realizing how much he relies on his facial expressions because part of this is because to get what he's saying across is if somebody doesn't understand him, he makes all these facial expressions to help people understand what he's saying. And it was just cracking me up when he's like, oh, I can't get Botox because I have to do these two faces.
Yeah.
Am I sexy? Am I happy?
That was funny. That was pretty funny.
And then I like that there was a little bit more humor in this episode than
as opposed
recent.
to fighting.
As opposed to fighting. And I think it's negative on the gay community to see constant fighting, to say that, oh, this is all they do is fight,
And shoot up Botox.
Yeah. Well,
Well, this is true.
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Cameron, you're next. Last but not least. Or last.
Oh, no.
Be nice.
I'm trying.
No special moment, but I love the fact that because Jackie kind of said it and you admitted it that Ryan's starting to get on your nerves.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's awesome to see yourself in someone, like reflecting. And I was totally, and Cameron knows me well. Jackie, you know me pretty well too, but I was always the one, and Ryan does it all the time. And actually, it really works for the show because if he didn't start the fires, none of the fires would grow and get out of control. He always sets everything up, puts everyone in one place.
And then he's running around
he'll put the lighter fluid,
doing it, yeah.
and then he'll strike the match.
What did he call himself today?
What did he call himself?
He commented on that when they were doing the Botox because he strategically put Reichen and Rodney
together.
Room.
Right.
But he gave himself a name.
I didn't catch it, and I think he's done that before too. Because when they did the runway show, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get all these bitches together, and I'm gonna see what goes off." And I used to be that person. I probably still am. I probably won't admit it that I am now, but it's always nice.
It's not as bad, and I think what keeps Ryan on the fence for viewers' perspective is that he still owns up to it, and he'll actually tell you to your face, which, be that good as it might be. Like I told you before, sometimes just because you tell the truth to somebody doesn't make it any less painful.
No.
And catty.
But you even pointed out when we were watching how when Austin and Derek were having it out near the bushes.
When they were on the lawn. No, when they were on the lawn.
Yeah.
He was the first one to grab Reichen and walk away from the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, even when they were arguing after that at
They
night.
didn't say hi, just grab Reichen's arm and they walked away.
And then running and listening from the bushes.
Right.
Oh.
And that's him starting the fire, and like, because had they stayed there, who knows what would have happened. So he kind of like escorted them away, which kind of put more flame to the fire.
Left Derek there to have to deal with it.
Exactly. So, yeah.
If this is all real.
But he's starting. Yeah, he's.
It's starting to seem a lot more staged.
Yeah.
Everything
to
is
me,
yeah
and scripted.
Well, we've gotten emails that suggest so. Anybody else want to add anything?
Speaking of staged,
Yes.
little Mr. Waterworks tonight. Or trying to.
Austin?
I think that's him really crying.
No tears coming out of his eyes.
I read
I
that
think he's just having breakdowns everywhere, though.
there's a role available on Days of Our Lives, so this was his audition tape. So we'll see if he gets that role. You know, I honestly don't know why he cares so much. Like what? Like maybe
I think what he cares about is not his friendship, but the fact that because of the situation, everybody hates him. Like, he really felt it when they all walked away.
Right.
And he's standing by himself. It's not that he particularly cares about Derek. It's that Derek has made everybody hate him. And so I think that's what he's freaking out about, which is what he freaked out about when they were in that other episode in the other room.
So do we all agree that he's like back wherever he was brought up, wherever he's from, that he was
Indiana.
Well, okay, yeah. I thought he was from Texas
Dallas.
or something. Yeah, that's what I thought.
He talks about it in this episode.
Yeah.
He's from Indiana. That's the only reason I know.
Well, there you go. Like, he's like always the center of attention. He's the life of the party. Wherever he goes, people follow. And now that he's not, like, he's like considered the outsider of the group, that like it really gets to him. Am I the only one that thinks that, or?
Yeah, I think it really does.
Well, he's young. Nobody wants to be left out.
Yeah. He's like the kid who
Until
keeps
he
getting
learns-
kicked on the playground.
until he
He's going to
learns how
start
to take-
crying.
Personal responsibility and learn how to give it.
Okay,
genuine
but
apology.
let's be honest. Like, no, this light is hot. Knowing, knowing, note to self. Knowing what we, speculating on what we kind of know about the whole, what's his name, Duncan Derek relationship, how it was contrived from the beginning, and how this whole like feud between Derek and Austin kind of like it's kind of fake on
Derek's
end.
behalf. Yeah.
Well,
How do you like
finish your sentence.
No, but go ahead. But you know where I'm going with the question.
Whether they had a relationship or not, again, we don't know. Say they were friends and they had a fight, and then Duncan became mean and verbally abusive
That
to
we didn't
Derek.
see.
Whether it was relationship or friendship, regardless, though, if it became a bad situation or unhealthy, and Derek asked him to not invite him or uninvite him to that party, regardless of what type of relationship they had, whether it was truly boyfriends or just
Derek
a
did
business
say in
relationship.
those text messages, they did, like, there was the indication that he was going to be in more episodes and that Derek broke it off for some reason. So it could be that.
I don't believe that they were boyfriends at all, but I
No.
do
No.
believe that there was some kind of relationship, whether it's a business relationship or not, it went sour. So Derek asked Austin, I'm hoping that's real, to not invite him.
But what if it's all contrived?
Regardless, though, the point, if you don't believe the meat or the principle of the argument, then what's the point of us talking about it?
I'm cool with moving on. No, because I feel
Me too.
but the thing is, if it's all fake and Derek, so I feel like that Derek is like misleading me this entire time with these fake, like, oh, I'm mad at you, I'm mad at you, I'm mad at you, because why am I mad? Why am I being mad at you for something that I completely put
Though
together?
I think Derek is flippant, I do believe in the principle of what he's arguing about. If I asked you not to do something,
That's bullshit.
Austin chose to end their relationship. I would too.
That's like me having a fake fight with you and like storming out and like
And then still being mad. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which he's done.
I have.
I mean, part of me thinks that Derek likes the position he's in
does.
right
He
now.
does. He likes
so-
being the queen bee now.
Right, and he didn't know how to really like respond to Austin when Austin was like, I'm sorry, I truly from the bottom of my heart, sorry. You know,
That was amazing.
I just think Derek.
We should have sound bites of that and just play it just randomly during that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
with that red face. I just think Derek was looking at him like, okay, this is kind of stupid that I'm going through
I'm actually
this.
going through
But you know what? No, I like where I'm at. Keep crying, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the same respect, Derek, I don't think is that good of an actor.
no.
And he seemed genuinely pissed off when they were fighting.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's all fake. Coming from Derek.
I think part of the reason, though,
Give it a minute.
I'm just saying.
I think part of the reason he could be pissed off, though, is just because he, for whatever reason, might have just wanted to be done with Austin because
Right.
now he's the queen bee. So he's like, I'm pissed off that you're like dealing with me anymore.
Well,
you
we
know?
all know that he's wishy-washy because he absolutely hated Austin's guts in the first season.
Yeah.
He's not wishy-washy. He was using Austin to his advantage. No, it's not too beneficial, so he gave it up.
True.
Bye, girl.
And his hair is gross. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, he needs some scissors.
So gross.
Do you know his hair reminds me of that character in The Fifth Element?
Yes.
I can't remember the actor's
Yes!
name right now.
Oh my god.
Chris
He's
Tucker?
like- no.
The blue lady?
He's a major actor.
No.
He
Huge,
did
and I can't
Dracula
remember
too.
his name. He was in Dracula.
Oh,
He has
Gary Oldman.
Gary
Oldman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
He has a new movie coming out.
Scarlet
Zorg.
Letter?
He was Zorg, wasn't
Yes.
He was in Scarlet Letter.
And he had the plastic on
yes,
the side.
it's totally
He's
what
a
it
great
looks
he? He was
like.
in California with
He's
a kid.
he's in a lot of movies.
He's in
He's
everything.
a great
in
actor, so he's
Batman.
allowed to have that hair
Yes.
in a movie.
In a movie.
well, the
It's
A-list
a
is
plastic.
Not in
important.
real life when you're all like doing this all the,
The
time.
A-list is important. This is why we have AfterBuzz on it.
Oh,
I didn't say it wasn't
Ooh.
important. I said
creepy McCreepy. So
if it's real, you should not have that shitty hair.
Okay.
This was very creepy.
I like.
Yeah, that
when-
guy is a creeper.
I like when Creeper asked him, he goes, so what would it take for you to do
Yeah.
it? Not that he was going to give it, but I think he was like, what would it take for you to sell out? What would it take for me to turn you out?
Like a blowjob or something? Is that where he was going?
But see, the other juxtaposition I liked in this was, so this reminds you of that creepy photo shoot where you were like, where the hell are they? They're in some sort of warehouse in the middle of nowhere. Juxtaposed against Rodney's photo shoot, which looked very professional. And when you think about all of Rodney's photo shoots, you're like, oh, they're all very professional.
Yeah.
And so then you're looking back at this and you're like,
because
that's even
Rodney is
skeevier.
actually doing work.
Yeah.
Like he's been on the show for one season. He's recognizable. He is a professional model now.
Right.
So,
But see, that's what that really hit me because I was like, oh, this is even skeevier when you're looking at that juxtaposition and you're like, he should just not do it. It's so gross.
yeah, he's just gross.
Now
what did he say?
Rodney's
Which-
getting plugs.
It would shoot him.
I know.
Shoot him into superstardom during Playgirl.
Well, and didn't we even talk about
Infamy.
this?
We did. How
Like Playgirl doesn't even print anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. God.
Wait.
like once
Quarterly.
a year.
They do it quarterly.
So they want him once
And
every 4 months?
Not only that, but looking at when Rodney went into the magazine, what magazine was that?
Instinct.
Instinct.
I read Instinct.
Look at their
every now and then.
headquarters.
That's what I was talking about.
Right,
Their
like-
headquarters look great, and then like the Playgirl had like the Playgirl scene was just like so raunchy and
Because it was
dirty.
contrived.
yeah.
That's all I got to say. Anyway,
All right, where are we
Glenn,
we are going to a
married.
commercial, and then we're going to come back and talk about the
Hair plugs.
gays.
Special topic.
The gays and how they always want to stay young. Vampire.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig! The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz
And
on.
they don't even like put him out either.
Yeah,
It's
no.
like really gross.
You better knock
Hey, are
me
we
the
back?
fuck out.
Hello, we're back.
They just give you a little couple.
So during the break, we were watching this whole Rodney and his, what is it, hair removal plug?
Hair plug.
plug.
Hair
Yeah.
transplant.
There you go, transplant. And it's actually pretty graphic and gross. And so we wanted to talk about how the gay community is obsessed. I think they're obsessed with staying young and being beautiful, and this whole image is everything, and I've got to look beautiful. I got to look perfect all the time. And I would just jump in first and say that before this scene, I never really, because his hair is always, Rodney, we're talking
Right,
about
it's
Rodney.
always forward.
It's always forward, and I've never noticed it until he pointed it out.
Until he pulled his hair all the way back so you can see these two
like,
spots.
who the fuck is going to see that if he doesn't do that? Like, really?
A,
I'm just, you know
hairstylist
what?
would on a photo shoot.
I just got out of surgery, so. By the way, for the record, I did not have gender reassignment surgery. I did not have a
Vaginal rejuvenation.
I did not have a facelift to look like Courtney. Although the beard makes me look more
views
like
expressed
her.
herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily
I-
reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you.
In other words, AfterBuzz TV does not believe what you're saying.
I will get on this table and show you my vagina to prove that I didn't have gender reassignment.
Okay, we need another 20 minutes, so let's not do that.
Okay. No, so I just want to get everyone's
That'd be like
opinion.
Mormon sex ed.
Because we've already discussed that this is like Derek's third time in Botox on this show, and we've only
This is the second time we've seen the whole group, or not the whole group, a group of them go and get Botox, but
Derek and Ryan both times, and Nyasha was there last time too.
Yeah, but
and they're aside from Reichen, they're all in their 20s, right?
No, isn't
last
Derek
time
much
it was
older?
Derek, Austin, and his boyfriend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Derek got
Jake.
Does that answer my question?
Armpit.
Yeah.
Armpits. Yeah.
What happened?
Although I do have to say though that this is not different from, again, comparing it to the Real Housewives franchise, which it compares itself to. It's not different from watching Real Housewives of Orange County or Beverly Hills. They have it done in their house.
But Cameron said to me,
"It's true.
It's true.
This is true." But Cameron said to me, we had this discussion maybe a couple of weeks ago about this.
Did we?
There's this documentary, the Adonis.
The Adonis Factor. Watch it.
And yeah, it's really good actually. And it's
Quentin Elias. Just check it out.
Okay.
Let me write that down. Anyway, it's about basically it just documents this whole idea of perfection and the gay male physique and how most gay men, they surround themselves, like as far as dating, going out, just being friends with people that are just like them. I mean, and when I say just like them, like the party circuit, 6-pack, 12-pack, everything predominantly, I'm not going to put a race to it, but it's predominantly white gay men. And this whole idea of perfection, and like in this documentary, there's these guys that are in their 40s and 50s who still do the same thing. They're, doing the Botox, they're doing the steroids to look and feel like they're 21, 22 years old. And
to feel, I think they didn't talk about feeling relevant.
Well, but also, I mean, but do you think that's obviously it's an obsession, but is relevance the only thing that has to do with that?
There's all kinds of dynamics that lead into that and add to that whole thing. Feeling relevant as a community and feeling equal. You can add all kinds of things into the pot. It was a good show.
Or doing something as like a pack too. That's like a pack mentality. It's like you have a group of people that start something, and then everybody else in the group is like trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Well, definitely. And like when I first moved here, going to the club, you would always see people could not go to the bar by themselves.
Right.
People could not go to the other dance floor by themselves. And that's a huge pet peeve. I'll be right here. I'm good. I'm safe. You got to do things with your crew. I don't know.
But this whole obsession about staying young and fit and like, is it only just for relevance, or is it just, to fit the mold of because is this what a gay man is supposed to
look like
and do, like
in their minds?
I saw a documentary a while ago on the history of AIDS. I don't remember the name of it. But they talked about how when HIV first became a problem in the gay community, being fit, having muscles, looking healthy.
I feel like I've seen the same documentary.
Yeah.
Well, they also had a section in Adonis Factor about that whole period.
Yeah, and how it was like important. So that's how you showed people that you were healthy, you were HIV negative, and you were able to sustain muscle, and being bigger was better. And I think it just sort of, and
I think this
trickled down.
And I think what you were referring to as a documentary, because that was more of a 90s thing, is like the whole...
Yes.
Because we weren't educated that much about the whole epidemic and blah, blah, blah. And like, I want to show you how. But we've progressed to now, this is like 2011.
But you can still keep, and here's the thing, it's like those ideas that start somewhere can stay prevalent in a community for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And it's like you still have people out there who think about AIDS in a certain way, and you still have people out there who think about sexuality in a certain way.
And there's still people out there, there's still bug chasers out there. Like, it's still really relevant in the gay community.
But how do you explain, I'm going to backtrack to what we were talking about that relates to the show. How do you explain to the 16-year-old and 15-year-old that are watching the A-List New York, and they're seeing these guys shooting Botox every other episode, and this whole idea is, when I get to Reichen's age, which is like 38, 39, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Or even Derek.
What do I say? I say you pray that you get better parents.
Or you have better genes.
Or better parents,
You know
so
what I
that you
mean?
can realize that wow, the most attractive one didn't get Botox.
But we even agreed that when Jake did it, we were like, really? He actually did it? And like, just because he doesn't seem like the type of, but I feel like he falls into that, oh, well, since they're all doing it, I might as well do it too. You know what I mean?
Let's be real, because it's not, the gay community has a great majority that does follow that dynamic, but there's also a huge population in the heterosexual community that does too. The Jersey juice heads. Let's be real. It's not just a homosexual thing. It's more prevalent.
But we don't care about straight people right now.
Okay.
But I think part of it too is it's a stereotype.
With the gay agenda right now, I have a microphone, I have a platform.
But it's a stereotype. In the sense, it's a stereotype that started with the gay community, which I think is the question of, which I think is the question of where does this come
What's
from?
the sign that she held up? Union. There you go. I'm sorry, Jackie. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's a stereotype that started with the gay community because it's like still today people see a very attractive man and your first instinct is to say, "Oh, I wonder if he's gay or not."
Like Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest is gay. Anyway.
Oh. For once, that's not
the views expressed herein are those of the host only, not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or
Seacrest
principals.
is good friends with the owner of this company. So
okay.
Good
I'm sorry.
He is
Ryan.
straight.
I'm sorry, Ryan. You're super
and
straight.
happily married.
Not
Is he
married.
really?
He's dating.
Tomato
But wait,
in Hollywood.
Will and Jada were supposedly happily married too. So
Well, but they have
So are
open
Tom and Katie.
contract. Will and Jada have an open contract.
They're swingers.
Just like, doesn't Katie and Tom have an open contract?
they have their own wings in the house.
Katie and Tom have a contract that just says, "I don't
I
do
own you.
Yeah.
So let's circle
This
back.
amount of time.
No, but I definitely agree with Jackie as far as it started with the gay agenda, as far as gay men always wanting to work out and look a certain way. And then you notice, like, girls always say, even I was out watching Real Housewives, the woman was saying, "Oh, I wish you could be my boyfriend. They're more sensitive. They're more attractive."
Yeah.
So then you have these guys
wanting to emulate
compete.
that. Yeah, it's true because it's like now we live in a, I'm not going to say completely understanding society because that's false, but a more understanding society where you have more out people in the community, and instead of there being fear, it's more envy. It's like, oh, well, those girls like those guys, so I guess I should like shape it up a little bit.
Which can be described in like a few years ago, the Abbey was predominantly gay men. Now you go there, they're like women, fish everywhere. It's like, really?
False.
No, this is true. This is true. Every time
And
I go
just so
there,
everyone
made
who
that
is
up.
not from LA, the Abbey is a huge gay
oh,
club.
I forget.
out
We
here.
have people
Bar.
that live in Idaho that watch
I think
us.
it's a bar.
it's probably the most successful bar, which also serves food. It's probably the most
If
successful
you live
bar
in
in the
Idaho,
world.
come to the Abbey.
It is
Anyone
the
from
most-
Idaho
come
would
to the
call it
Abbey.
a club. I mean, the other night,
Yeah.
it was like a freaking Britney Spears concert with
It
the
sure
lights.
was.
Hey, I
blasting
brought a
and-
boy home from the Abbey,
Exactly.
thanks to Kenny.
Oh. Did you check your panties? Make sure that you still had them and not him.
That's
Moving on.
irrelevant. That is irrelevant.
Anyway,
Jeez.
Jesse, you have anything to add to this topic?
No.
okay.
I agree with
Nothing.
I agree
Yeah.
with Jackie.
What did Jackie say? No, I'm just
So well,
kidding.
here I'll be not devil's advocate, but I'll just put a question out there. So
Throw it.
when, not if, but when we have that level of equality for gay marriage and we're held to the same standard, because that's one thing that I believe is if you're asking for marriage or that equality, then you should be held to the same level of accountability. Infidelity is against the law. last I
Infidelity
checked.
is infidelity.
So open marriage or not, but I mean, when you're held to the same level of responsibility and expectation, do you think that the social requirement for that whole pretty boy thing or that will that change what we're
But the
talking about?
whole idea of everyone has to be perfect.
When they're not trying to prove so much now, when they have that level, like I do feel like I'm equal somewhat. Because growing up, I believe that most gay men spend so much time trying to be better than their heterosexual counterpart, overachievers.
I don't think that's so much now. I agree with what you're saying, but I think today they're in competition with their homosexual counterparts or their They walk into a gym. You walk into a gym, you see a guy, and you're like, oh, I need to be as big as him. You can be like 10,000 pounds of muscle. You still want to say, oh, I want to be as big as him.
But some of those things are also afforded because they have disposable incomes. When you have a family with children, when you can adopt children as you want to, you don't have that level of income to just throw away on steroids, growth hormone, drugs, partying every weekend at Palm Springs. You don't have that kind of income.
Why does it have to be Palm Springs?
Oh,
it's
no.
one of my favorite places.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
Vegas.
My second favorite place.
I love Vegas.
No, I understand what you're saying, Cameron, but I to relate it to marriage, I don't think it has.
That's just the one
just
symptom of the
symptom.
bigger issue.
I don't think marriage will calm that down because I think it. Even though it's within the gay community, I think it starts from young a competition.
Yeah.
I think it's a competition
to stand out.
Growing up and not even standing out, but growing up and being insecure that you are gay and having to fight that battle and wanting to be masculine and have muscles and wanting to be athletic in that type of sense. I think that's where it starts and it builds once you become friends with, your other, whatever you would call them, gay friends.
Homos.
And, you have things like Muscle Beach and you want to go out and partake and look.
Right.
All we see is sex. Any gay magazine you get, it's selling sex.
Well, it's homosexual.
It's also
It's
heterosexual.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's all about sex. It's not about anything else.
But that's when I think that competition stops when within our own community we're not just thinking about sex. And so I would let me
and we're held responsible for not being promiscuous and not being
And me personally, I agree with you, Cameron. I think that that's the standard it should be, but it's not that. And
right.
Wow.
So I don't know what will be able to heal that.
And again, there's not always going to be an easy answer. I get that. I mean, there's a myriad of problems in the world, and we just belong to.
I just feel like for me, to wrap it up, I just feel like for me, it's just, it's kind of disturbing to see the hair implant thing and the botox thing. Very prevalent.
What's more disturbing for me is to watch these group of people. We see this every day, that people that call themselves friends, they're not friends, they're acquaintances. True friends,
right, exactly.
True friends don't act
that
way.
That's true. Well, this is off of television. Who are you looking
Very
at?
true.
He's going to start posting this on people's profile.
I was just about to say something that I shouldn't say, but...
Say it.
Well, I was going to say, because I watched the 9/11 thing, and it was really touching when they read the names. I thought you were going to start reading names.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. Anyway.
I love the fact that you included this podcast as any sort of 9/11.
I know. It was a very touching weekend for me anyway. But yeah, I just think, the whole gay agenda and the whole, wanting to be perfect is, it is what it is. Oh, and I just also wanted to say, just if you're watching, the hair plant in transplant thing, I know someone that I worked for who did have that done when he was younger, and he was busted when in his 40s, so you might want to think twice about it.
The problem is with hair transplant is that they implant the hair where you're losing it,
right,
but not where it's continuing to lose. So you'll grow the hair back where you've lost it already,
have another line.
but then you'll start to lose the rest of it.
Well, and not only that, is even when you stop growing that, where you transplant it, there's nothing, you have nothing to pull from after that. So
exactly,
you're done. So why even do it?
All I keep thinking of is, have you guys seen Arrested Development?
Yes.
When he gets the implants?
Yes.
That's all I can think of, is it's Tobias with the implants.
He gets hair transplant surgery as well, and he gets a disease from it, and it starts to kill him.
Yeah, and it starts to kill him, and he won't let go of it.
But his hair is growing.
But his hair is growing, so he
luxurious.
won't let go.
Yeah.
Like, he won't let go, and he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
and
another
he's still
great
like,
show. I saw 2 episodes of it. Great show. It got canceled, and it shouldn't have. It should be still on.
But
anyway.
you realize that we were talking about a gay man getting hair transplant, but your story was about a
gay man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he was gay actually.
Tobias's character.
Oh no, I'm talking about his character.
He was gay.
Oh.
Tobias was gay.
My boss was the guy I worked for. Was
Damn.
gay.
It's like the character in Arrested
Yeah, he was gay.
So no straight men get hair transplant.
He was.
Well, they do Rogaine.
He was questionable.
Yeah.
Tobias wasn't. What's his name? The guy actor.
David Cross.
Oh, I was gonna say Will Arnett. That wasn't Will Arnett.
No.
No.
Okay.
But Will Arnett was in it.
I know. Well, that's why I thought it was him. Okay.
Straight men get plugs. They just don't talk about it.
Oh, they get plugged. All right. All right. So on that note, let's do news and gossip with Mr. Jesse Janedy.
TV News.
So Wendy Williams returns to host the second season reunion special of Logo's The A-List New York. She also signed on to host an inaugural reunion of the A-List Dallas later this fall, which looks totally boring, by the way.
I'm gonna see it.
And they have the token white girl there. Using her signature charm and inquisitive nature, Wendy is sure to ask all the questions that will uncover the season's darkest secrets, giving viewers every delicious detail along the way. The 2-hour A-List New York reunion special will air in 2 parts. Part 1 premieres Monday, October 10th. And part 2 will premiere 1 week later, October 17th.
So, Courtney, if you're watching, you have connections to Wendy Williams. Let's try to hook that up. Let's get her on. Get her to call us. Be something fun.
Gay and lesbian rights activists are responding to controversy surrounding the casting of transgender spokesperson Chaz Bono on the upcoming 13th season of Dancing with the Stars. 1millionmoms.com, an online activism group geared towards mothers, is calling for the boycott of the show, which is set to premiere September 19th on ABC. The group states Christians should not watch the show. No
Go back to
excuses.
the kitchen.
So dumb.
I think it's
Just
it's just ridiculous.
Shut up.
And I'm actually glad they paired her with a female professional.
Because she is a man. She's had gender reassigned.
He is a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's had gender reassignment surgery. He's legitimately a man. Stop complaining.
And the argument was, because the kids won't understand. Who the hell?
The kids don't care.
They're not gonna
first
know.
Of all,
Yeah.
They're
Are they
gonna
gonna talk about it?
Well, the thing is, you're gonna look at her or him. Sorry, you're gonna look at him and say, "Oh, he's a boy."
Yeah.
What fucking?
Chaz Bono has looked like a
I
boy for a
swear.
very long time and been a boy for been living as a boy
Even
for
longer.
a long time. Yeah.
I was born Christian, so I'm whatever.
Just don't vote for her if you don't want it. Him if you don't want it.
Exactly.
I'm voting for him twice because he's Cher's son.
I'm gonna. We're gonna keep her to the end.
Poor Chaz.
Him. Whatever.
All right,
What
so
a boo.
Andy Whitfield, a 39-year-old
This is very
star
sad.
of cable series Spartacus Blood and Sand, died Sunday, September 11th, losing an 18-month battle with lymphoma cancer. Lymphoma cancer. Passed away peacefully, surrounded by his wife and loved ones. Whitfield, born in Wales, who later moved to Australia, appeared in all 13 episodes of the first season that aired in 2010 and was preparing to shoot the second season when he was diagnosed with cancer.
It's so great because, first of all, the show. If you watch this show, you know that it dealt a lot with homosexuality,
Good, 'cause I was like,
bisexuality.
what?
Yeah.
No, and bisexuality, and it was because we talked about this over and over
Well,
again.
she brought that up.
exactly about back in those times.
You didn't.
Sex
there
with
was
sex.
no label.
Sex with sex.
Sex with sex.
Aside from that, I thought he was a great lead for that show, and the show actually kind of died off when he was diagnosed, and they tried to do a prequel and blah blah blah. So I had to add this as news and gossip, and we wish his family our condolences and love and support.
All right, and that's your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip for the week of September 13th, 2011.
And now we're gonna do our predictions really fast.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Who wants to go first?
I
David.
I have nothing to predict because I don't know how you predict a reality show.
Well, you watched the on the next
You
A-List
left
New
on
York.
the next A-List and rehash it.
Well, I know Austin gets slapped. I don't know by who. I think he's getting slapped by Derek. But
Well, we were also talking about at the end, the subtitle showed that Rodney brings up before Austin and Jake got married. A week before
And then it's
something.
cut off.
Bah! Ellipsis.
Yes.
All you saw was the ellipsis.
So,
And then Rodney brings a woman to some party.
The same girl he went on the
Yeah.
date with.
Yeah.
She just wants some
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to be famous.
Looking at her for a 15.
What do you got, Jesse? You got anything?
Nope.
Jackie?
No.
Cameron, you got anything to add?
Rodney's gonna date Natalie Nunn.
What?
On that note,
Good prediction.
And that's all we have. Thank you for joining us. A-List New York, Episode 7, Hamptons and Hellraising.
That's the name.
That's the name.
Oh.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janedy, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network.
If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principal.